Ego death. Few phrases in the spiritual lexicon inspire such terror. But what if it isn't a death, but a change of command? The abdication of a frightened tyrant, and the coronation of a wise and peaceful sovereign. If you feel like the person you thought you were is dissolving, if your very identity feels like it's fading to gray, know that you are not going insane. You are going sane in a way you never imagined possible. Subscribe to The Hidden Voice, and let us demystify the most feared and misunderstood passage of the spiritual path. Part 1. The Pain of Dissolution. Let's talk about what this really feels like. Because the spiritual books often make it sound poetic, but the lived reality can be terrifying. It is the feeling of coming undone. It may have started subtly. You began to lose interest in the things that once defined you. The career ambitions that fueled your 20s and 30s now feel hollow, like a game you no longer have the energy to play. The hobbies you once loved sit untouched, not because you dislike them, but because the you who loved them seems to be a stranger. Then, the feeling deepens. You look in the mirror, and you recognize the face, the features, the lines, but the sense of me isn't there. It's like looking at a photograph of a close friend rather than your own reflection. There is a strange and unsettling distance between the awareness that is looking and the person being looked at. Your memories begin to lose their charge. You can recall events from your past, your greatest triumphs, your most painful heartbreaks, but it's as if you are watching a movie about someone else. The pride of the achievement is muted. The sting of the betrayal is distant. The stories that once formed the very bedrock of your identity, the narrative of who I am, are becoming thin, transparent, like old photographs left out in the sun. And with this comes a profound sense of unreality. A feeling that you are a ghost in your own life. You move through your day, you perform your tasks, you have conversations, but it all feels like a dream. There is a subtle veil between you and the world, a sense of depersonalization that makes everything feel slightly unreal. And the core of the experience, the epicenter of the pain, is fear. A deep, primal fear. Because if you are not your ambition, not your personality, not your memories, not the face in the mirror, then who, or what, are you? The mind, the ego, which equates its own existence with survival, panics. It interprets this dissolution not as a spiritual passage, but as annihilation, as death. It screams into the silence. I am disappearing. I am losing my mind. I am ceasing to exist. This is the pain of the recalibration phase. It is the feeling of the old self dissolving before the new self has fully come online. It is the terror of the trapeze artist who has let go of one bar and is flying through the empty air, with no guarantee that the next bar will be there to catch them. You are not dying. But the character you have been playing your entire life is. And you have mistaken the death of the character for your own. Part 2. Demystifying ego death. Now, we must bring a lamp into this foggy, disorienting space. We must demystify this terrifying term, ego death, and see it for what it truly is. Because a misunderstanding of this concept is the source of all the fear. First, let us be clear about what ego death is not. It is not the death of your functional personality. The part of you that knows your name, your address, how to drive a car, how to do your job, how to laugh at a joke. That is not what dies. Your skills, your unique human personality, your ability to function in the world. These things are not erased. To believe so is to fall prey to a spiritual myth. Ego death is not a permanent state of zombie-like blankness. It is not the end of feeling, or love, or joy. So what is it? Ego death is the end of your identification with a fictional character. The ego is not a thing. It is an activity. It is the activity of the mind constantly creating and maintaining a story about me. This story is a collage, assembled from your memories, your beliefs, your fears, your accomplishments, your wounds, your social roles, and the opinions of others. It is a mental construct. A fictional protagonist in the movie of your life. And you, for your entire life, have believed that you are that protagonist. You have believed that you are that bundle of memories, fears, and roles. Ego death is the moment, or the gradual process, where you begin to see, with unshakable clarity, that this is not true. It is the moment you see that you are not the character in the story. You are the silent, aware space in which the story is happening. You are the consciousness that is aware of the character. It is the death of an illusion. That is all. But because you have invested your entire sense of self, your entire sense of survival, in this illusion, its death feels like your own. Imagine you've been wearing a heavy, suffocating suit of armor your whole life. You were born into it. You believed the armor was your body. You felt its weight, its constriction, its limitations as your own. Then, one day, the armor begins to rust, to fall apart, to dissolve. The process is terrifying, because you believe your body is disintegrating. But then, the last piece falls away, and you stand for the first time in the open air, feeling the sun on your actual skin. You realize you were never the armor. You were the living, breathing being trapped inside it. Was the dissolution of the armor a death? Or was it a liberation? This is ego death. It is the dissolution of the false, constricted, story-based self, so that the true, vast, and present self can finally be known. It is not an annihilation. It is a revelation. The fear comes from the part of you that is dissolving, the ego itself. The peace comes from the part of you that is being revealed, your true nature as awareness. Our work is not to fear this process, but to facilitate it. To help the old armor fall away with grace, so we can finally learn to live in the freedom of our own skin. Part 3. Witnessing the Ghost. To navigate this phase, we must move beyond concepts. We must have a direct experience of the truth that you are not the story you have told yourself. Let's do a gentle investigation together. An archaeology of the self. Find a quiet moment. Let your body settle. And I want you to reach into the archive of your own memory, the library of me, and pull out one of the books that most defines your character. Perhaps it's the book of your greatest triumph. The day you got the degree, closed the deal, won the award. The moment you felt proud, accomplished, successful. Bring that memory to mind now. See the scene. Hear the sounds. Feel the emotion of that victory as you remember it. That feeling of, I did it. I am a success. Feel how solid that I feels in the memory. Now, as you hold this memory in your awareness, I want you to notice something subtle. There is the memory itself, the images, the sounds, the feelings. And then, there is the you that is noticing the memory right now. Are they the same? The memory is in the past. It is a finite event. But the awareness that is watching it, where is it? It is here. Now. It is timeless. The memory has a powerful emotional charge of pride. But the awareness that is watching, is it proud? Or is it just aware? Is it calm, silent, vast? Notice the space between the watcher and the watched. In that space lies your freedom. The story of the successful one is just that, a story, a ghost. You are the one who is witnessing the ghost. You are not the ghost itself. Now, let's try another. Gently put that memory down. And pick up a different book from the library. The book of your greatest failure or your deepest shame. The moment you felt humiliated, heartbroken, or defeated. The memory that makes you cringe. Bring it to mind, just for a moment. Feel the familiar sting of that old pain. The story that says, I am a failure, I am unlovable, I am broken. Feel how solid and real that I feels in the pain of that story. And now, do the same thing. Notice the story. The painful images, the harsh inner words, the crushing feeling in your chest. And at the very same time, notice the awareness that is watching it all happen. Is that awareness crushed? Is it heartbroken? Is it a failure? Or is it, once again, the silent, untouched, ever-present space in which this painful weather is occurring? See this clearly. The story of your success is a ghost. The story of your failure is also a ghost. Both are ephemeral clouds passing through the vast, open sky of your true nature. You have spent your entire life believing you are the cloud. The ego death you are experiencing is the terrifying, liberating process of realizing you are the sky. The reason it feels like you are disappearing is because these ghosts, these stories, are losing their solidity. Their emotional charge is draining away because you are no longer fueling them with your belief. You are withdrawing your consciousness from the character and returning it to its source, the silent watcher. So when you feel that sense of unreality, that sense that, I am not here, you can now reframe it. The I that is not here is the ghost. The fictional character. The one who is noticing its absence. That is who you truly are. And it has always been here. Peaceful, whole, and free. Part 4. The Lineage of Wisdom. This process of disenchantment, of waking from the dream of the personal self, is the absolute core of the mystical path. The terror and disorientation you feel are not signs that you have gone astray. They are signs that you have finally found the path's most critical and transformative passage. You are in the heart of the mystery now. One of the West's most beloved spiritual teachers, Ram Dass, chronicled this journey with profound humor and honesty. After his own powerful psychedelic experiences and his time in India, he began the long process of shedding his old identity as Richard Alpert, the brilliant Harvard professor. He understood that this shedding was the entire point of the spiritual path. Ram Dass famously said, "The spiritual journey is not about becoming anything. It is about unbecoming everything that isn't you, so you can be who you were meant to be in the first place." This is the recalibration phase. It is a process of unbecoming. You are unbecoming the belief that you are your career. You are unbecoming the belief that you are your past trauma. You are unbecoming the belief that you are your successes and failures. You are letting go, layer by layer, of a lifetime of accumulated identity, of who you thought you were, so that the radiant truth of who you have always been can shine through. The fear you feel is the ego's terror of becoming nobody. The ego believes that to be nobody is to be annihilated. But the great mystics teach us that becoming nobody is the secret to becoming everything. It is only when you are no longer defending the small, fictional fortress of me that you can merge with the infinite life of the cosmos. The Christian mystic Bernadette Roberts, who chronicled her own journey through this terrain with incredible precision, took this understanding even further. She spoke of the no-self state not as a philosophical idea, but as a lived reality. She wrote, "The I is a door that shuts us out from the all. When the I has been extinguished, there is no one left to be shut out." Think of that. The ego, the I you have cherished and defended, is the very door that has kept you separate from the oceanic peace and boundless love you have been seeking. Its entire function is to create a sense of me here and the universe out there. The dissolution of that I is not the destruction of your house. It is the dissolving of the door that has kept you from realizing you were living in a palace all along. This is not a loss. It is a liberation from the heaviest burden you have ever carried, the burden of having to be somebody. The constant, exhausting effort of maintaining, defending, and polishing the statue of yourself. The recalibration phase is the slow, graceful, and sometimes terrifying process of putting that statue down, of letting it crack and crumble. And the peace that follows is not the peace of having a perfect statue. It is the peace of no longer having to carry a statue at all. You are not losing yourself. You are losing a burden. And in its place, you are finding the effortless freedom of your own authentic being. Part 5. The Parable of the Actor Who Forgot the Play Was Over. To grasp the essence of ego death without fear, let us see it not as a story of a dying soldier, but as the story of a master performer. Let us imagine an actor. This actor is brilliant, a true genius of his craft. He has been cast in the role of a lifetime, a tragic king in a great play. To prepare for the role, he immerses himself completely. He reads the king's history, he studies his mannerisms, he adopts his way of speaking. He feels the king's triumphs and his devastating losses as his own. He becomes so identified with the character that when he is on stage, he is no longer acting. He is the king. The play is a smash hit. Night after night, for years, he takes the stage and lives the life of the tragic king. He feels the weight of the crown, the pain of betrayal, the agony of his final, dramatic death on stage. And the audience weeps. They are moved by the power of his performance, by the reality of his suffering. His identity and the king's identity have become one. Then, one night, the play's run comes to an end. It is the final performance. The last scene is played out. The king dies his tragic death. The curtain falls. The audience rises in a thundering ovation, and then they file out of the theater, their catharsis complete. The lights in the auditorium go down. The work is done. But the actor doesn't get up. He remains on the stage, in the dark, silent theater. He is still wearing the heavy crown and the royal costume. He is still feeling the profound sorrow of the king. The play is over, but he has forgotten. He has so completely identified with the role that he doesn't know how to take off the costume. He continues to feel the king's burdens, to think the king's thoughts, to suffer the king's fate, long after the curtain has fallen. He is haunted by a ghost, and the ghost is the character he so brilliantly played. This is the story of you and your ego. Your ego is the role you have been playing in the great drama of your life. The role of the striver, the victim, the hero, the outcast. You have played it with such commitment, and for so long that you have forgotten it is a role. You have mistaken the character for your true self. Your spiritual awakening is the moment the curtain falls. It is the universe signaling that the play of your past identity is over. But you, the actor, have remained on stage, still in costume, still suffering the pains of a character whose story is finished. The ego death you are experiencing is the slow, confusing, and ultimately liberating process of remembering you are the actor, not the king. It is the process of unlearning the role. It's the feeling of taking off the heavy crown of your ambitions. It's the process of removing the thick makeup of your personality. It's the act of walking off the lonely stage and returning to the quiet peace of your own dressing room. The fear you feel is the character's fear of ending. The king doesn't want to die. But you are not the king. You are the free, peaceful, creative actor who has the power to play many roles, but is defined by none of them. The end of the play is not your end. It is the beginning of your freedom. It is the moment you can finally rest, take a deep breath, and remember who you were before the curtain ever rose. Part 6. The Conscious You and Becoming. Does this story of the actor resonate with you? Do you feel that you are on a silent stage, still playing a part that no longer fits? If this parable helps you to see your situation with a new clarity, then I invite you to deepen your practice of this remembrance. Subscribe to The Hidden Voice. This is a dressing room for the actors of the world who are learning to remove their costumes. It is a community that understands that the end of the play is a moment for celebration, not fear. Your presence here helps to turn up the house lights for others who are still lost on a dark stage. Now, we must move from a beautiful metaphor to a conscious, internal action. You have been a passive participant in this dissolution, feeling like it is happening to you. Now, we will become an active co-creator in the process. We will not fight it, we will assist it. We will consciously help the old costume fall away. This requires a new inner vow. A vow not of doing, but of undoing. A commitment to the process of unbecoming. Find your center. Connect to that part of you that feels like the actor, the silent consciousness that has been watching the play of your life. And from that place of quiet wisdom, make this declaration. This is you, giving yourself permission to let go. I now recognize that the me I thought I was is a character I have been playing. I honor this character for the lessons it taught me and the strength it gave me. Its performance was magnificent, and its part in my story is now complete. From this moment forward, I shift my allegiance. I withdraw my belief and my identity from the character, and I place it in the actor, the silent, aware consciousness that I truly am. I am not the story. I am the space in which the story appeared. Now, let's make this a practical, ongoing choice. When I feel the fear of disappearing, I will recognize it as the character's fear, not my own. I will meet it with the calm reassurance of the actor, and I will remind myself, the role is ending, but I remain. When I feel the pull of old ambitions and identities, I will see it as muscle memory from the old role. I will thank it for its energy, and I will gently release it, choosing instead the peace of the present moment. I consciously and willingly embrace this phase of recalibration. I give my soul permission to delete the old software, to defragment the hard drive, and to install the new operating system of my true self. I will not rush the process. I will not fear the emptiness between the roles. I understand that this emptiness is not a void, but a sacred dressing room where I am preparing for my most authentic expression yet. Take a deep breath. Feel the profound relief in this choice. You are no longer fighting a death. You are participating in a release. You are not a character being killed off. You are the lead actor, finally taking a bow, finally going home. You are not being erased. You are being set free. Part 7. The System Reboot. You have made the conscious choice to embrace this unbecoming. You have recognized yourself as the actor, not the role. To solidify this new identity, it is helpful to understand the process from a different perspective. Not just as a play ending, but as a profound system upgrade for your entire being. Think of your ego, the story of me, as a very old operating system on a computer. Let's call it Ego OS 1.0. It was programmed in your childhood with very basic software, primarily focused on survival. Its core functions were seek pleasure, avoid pain, gain approval, and avoid rejection. For a long time, this operating system worked. It helped you navigate the world, build a life, and protect yourself. But over time, you began to see its limitations. It was slow. It was prone to viruses, like beliefs of unworthiness and shame. It ran constant, energy-consuming background programs of anxiety and fear. And most importantly, it was completely incapable of running the new, complex applications you were becoming interested in. Applications like unconditional love, boundless creativity, and profound peace. It simply didn't have the processing power. The process of ego death is not your computer crashing. It is you, the user, finally making the wise decision to uninstall the old, buggy, outdated operating system. The feelings of disorientation, of unreality, of losing your mind, are the natural symptoms of this system reboot. Imagine the screen on your computer during a major OS upgrade. It goes blank. The familiar desktop disappears. Strange lines of code might scroll by. A progress bar appears and seems to stay stuck for an eternity. For a moment, it looks like the computer is broken. It is in an in-between state, no longer the old system, and not yet the new one. This is the recalibration phase. Your hardware, your body, your unique personality, is still intact. It is the fundamental software, the operating system through which you perceive and interact with reality, that is being rewritten. When a memory loses its emotional charge, that is your system defragmenting the hard drive, cleaning out corrupted files. When you lose motivation for old goals, that is your system uninstalling obsolete programs that you no longer need. When you feel a sense of unreality, that is your system rebooting, temporarily offline while the new OS, let's call it Soul OS, is installed. This new operating system is infinitely more powerful. Its processing power is not based on the limited memory of your past, but on a direct, wireless connection to the infinite intelligence of the universe. Its core functions are not based on fear and lack, but on love, presence, and inspiration. It operates with an efficiency and grace that the old Ego OS could never comprehend. So when you feel that fear of dissolution, you can reassure yourself with this new understanding. You are not breaking down. You are upgrading. The temporary chaos and blankness are not signs of a problem. They are signs that the installation is proceeding correctly. The most foolish thing you could do during a system upgrade is to panic and try to force the old OS to run again. The wisest thing you can do is to wait, to trust, and to allow the recalibration to complete itself, knowing that what is coming online is a version of you that is more stable, more powerful, and more truly you than ever before. Part 8. Navigating the reboot. While a system reboot is largely an automatic process, there are things we can do to create the optimal conditions for the installation. We can learn to navigate this in-between phase with grace, rather than resistance. These are the rituals for the recalibration phase. The first ritual, the sensory anchor. When the feeling of unreality or depersonalization becomes intense, when you feel like you are floating away, you need an anchor. The ego lives in the abstract world of past and future. Your true self lives in the raw, undeniable reality of the present moment. The fastest way back to the present is through your senses. This ritual is an emergency anchor to be used any time you feel you are losing your ground. Choose one of your 5 senses and dive into it with 100% of your attention for 60 seconds. For touch, pick up an object near you, a smooth stone, a soft blanket, a cup of tea. Close your eyes and feel its texture, its weight, its temperature as if you have never felt anything before. For sight, look at an object, a plant, a painting, the wood grain on your table. Observe its colors, its shapes, its tiny details as if you are trying to memorize it for a masterpiece painting. For sound, close your eyes and listen. Isolate the furthest sound you can hear, then the closest. Listen to the silence between the sounds. For smell, find something with a distinct scent, a piece of fruit, a flower, essential oils. Inhale slowly and deeply, letting the scent fill your awareness. For taste, take a small bite of food or a sip of a drink and let it linger in your mouth. Notice all the subtle flavors. By pouring your full consciousness into one sensory gate, you pull your energy out of the dissolving story in your mind and anchor it firmly in the isness of the present. This is your safe harbor during the reboot. The second ritual, the Who Am I? Inquiry. This is a deep meditative practice, best done in a quiet, seated position. It is designed to gently accelerate the unbecoming process. Close your eyes and with each exhale, silently ask the question, Who am I? Your mind, the old OS, will immediately try to answer. It will serve up its usual labels. I am a parent. I am my name. I am an artist. I am my body. I am my thoughts. For each answer that arises, your only task is to recognize that it is another story, another object that you are aware of. And you gently let it go, acknowledging, I am aware of the thought that I am a parent, but that is not the totality of me. And then you return to the question on the next exhale, Who am I? The goal is not to arrive at a new, better verbal answer. The goal is to exhaust the mind's ability to answer. The goal is to discover that behind every label, behind every story, there is a silent, spacious, loving presence. The goal is to rest in that presence, the great, unnameable, I am, that is your true nature. You are using the question as a tool to see through your own illusions. The third ritual, the freedom inventory. The ego experiences its death as a catastrophic loss. Your soul experiences it as a liberating gain. This ritual trains your mind to adopt your soul's perspective. Each evening, get your journal and create a freedom inventory. Your task is to list 1 or 2 things that you felt free from during the day, specifically because the old ego is dissolving. For example, today, I was free from the need to win that argument. Today, I was free from the anxiety of what others thought of my appearance. Today, I was free from the heavy burden of a grudge I've been carrying for years. Today, I was free from the exhausting pressure to be interesting or impressive. You are consciously documenting the benefits of the system upgrade. You are building a case file for freedom. This practice retrains your focus from what is being lost, your false identity, to what is being gained, your peace, your lightness, your authenticity. It helps you to celebrate the process, to welcome the dissolution, and to see the ego death not as a terrifying death, but as the joyful birth of your own freedom. Part 9. The Clear Channel. You are learning to navigate the system reboot. You are practicing the art of anchoring in the present moment while the old software of the self dissolves. And now we must explore the profound purpose behind this entire process. Why must the ego abdicate its throne? What becomes possible when it moves from being the ruler of your life to being a simple servant? The ego, the story of me, is fundamentally a filter. It is a lens through which you have viewed reality. And this lens is colored by all of your past experiences, your fears, your beliefs, and your insecurities. It is like looking at the world through a smudged and distorted piece of glass. You don't see the world as it is, you see a projection of your own inner state. When you have a strong ego, everything that happens is filtered through the question, what does this mean for me? If someone offers a criticism, the ego hears, I am under attack. If you face a challenge, the ego sees, I might fail and be seen as a failure. If you experience success, the ego thinks, I am better than others. Every experience is instantly personalized, instantly absorbed into the ongoing drama of the me story. This filtering process is exhausting, and it dramatically limits your experience of life. It also blocks the flow of true intelligence and creativity. True creativity, true wisdom, true love. These things do not originate in the small, historical self. They are aspects of a universal intelligence, a cosmic consciousness, that flows through us. The ego is like a kink in the hose. It restricts the flow of this universal intelligence. Its constant chatter, its fears, its self-obsession, all act as static that garbles the clear signal. The process of ego death, the recalibration phase, is the process of removing the kink. It is the purification of the channel. As the filter of the me story dissolves, you become a clearer, more open vessel for life itself to express through you. Your actions begin to be motivated not by personal gain or fear, but by a simple, intuitive resonance with the flow of life. Your creative ideas will feel less like something you thought of, and more like something that was given to you, a download from a higher intelligence. Your love for others becomes less conditional, less about what you can get, and more of a simple, radiant overflow of the love that you now recognize as your own nature. You stop being the anxious author, trying to meticulously plan every word of your life's story. Instead, you become the pen. You allow the vast intelligence of the universe to write its story through you. And you discover that its story is infinitely more beautiful, more elegant, and more meaningful than anything your small, separate self could have ever conceived. The death of the ego is the birth of your true function, to be a clear and open channel for divinity to express itself in this world. The emptiness you feel is not the emptiness of nothingness. It is the emptiness of open-ended potential, ready to be filled with an intelligence and a love that is far beyond the personal. Part 10. The Peace of Nobody. And so we arrive here, at the quiet center of the dissolution. We have given it a new name, a recalibration, a reboot, an unbecoming. We have seen it as the shedding of an old costume, the uninstalling of an old operating system. And now, all that is left is to make peace with the raw feeling itself, to find the sublime gift hidden in its heart. Bring your awareness back to that feeling of unreality. That sense of being a ghost, of your identity fading. Feel the fear that it can trigger. The mind's primal terror of annihilation. I am disappearing. I am losing myself. I am dying. Feel the terror of the ego as it senses its own obsolescence. It is real. It is visceral. It is the core fear that has driven your entire life. Do not resist it. Just for a moment, allow it to be here. And now, from the seat of the silent watcher that you have cultivated, I want you to ask a simple question. Who is it that is aware of this fear? Who is it that is watching this process of disappearing? The ego, the character, is the one screaming in terror. But you are the one who is aware of the screaming. And the one who is aware is not screaming. The one who is aware is silent. It is still. It is at peace. This is the final, liberating epiphany. The terror of ego death is an experience that happens within you, but it is not happening to you. You are the space in which the death of the ego is occurring. And the space itself is not dying. The space is eternal. The wave is crashing back into the ocean. From the perspective of the wave, it is a terrifying death. It is the end of its individual existence. But from the perspective of the ocean, it is a joyful homecoming. It is a release from the tension of being a separate, struggling form. It is a return to the wholeness of its true nature. You are not the wave. You are the ocean. And the entire spiritual journey has been this one grand movement, to shift your identity from the temporary, struggling wave, to the vast, eternal, peaceful ocean. The ego death is the moment of that final shift. It is the ultimate act of grace. It is the universe's loving way of reminding you of who you truly are, by dissolving everything that you are not. Let the wave dissolve. Let the character die. Let the armor fall to dust. Let the old OS be uninstalled. And rest as that which remains. The vast, silent, loving awareness. The peace of being nobody in particular. And in that nobodiness, you discover the freedom to be everything. There is no greater peace. There is no greater liberation. The death you feared so much was the very birth you have been seeking all along. This quiet, spacious freedom is your original face. It is the truth of who you are. If this journey has helped you to feel safe in your own dissolution, to trust this sacred recalibration, then help us share this message of peace with others who are terrified of their own liberation. Subscribe to The Hidden Voice. Like and share this guide to a graceful unbecoming. Your interaction helps to create a sanctuary of understanding for souls undergoing this profound system upgrade. Thank you for your immense courage to let go. Rest in the peace of your true nature. The performance is over. You are finally free.